In this video, we'll be talking about standard form, and this is just another way to write a linear equation. So standard form is ax plus by equals c. Let me write that b a little bit better. So we're going to do the odds, and we're going to convert from the standard form into slope-intercept form. If you remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So in other words, we're just going to be solving for y. And then once we solve for y, we're going to identify our slope and our y-intercept. So, to solve for y, well, here's y. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. So I have y equals negative 2x plus 3. So I can write it in the slope-intercept form, which is that. So my slope, or my m, is going to be negative 2, and my b is going to be 3. So that one was pretty easy because there was no coefficient on the y. However, these next couple have coefficients, so we'll deal with those as we go along. So here's y, and we want y by itself. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. I'm going to have negative 3y equals negative x plus 12. And I'm going to divide by negative 3. So those negative 3's go away, and I have y equals 1/3 x minus 4. And my slope is 1/3, and my y-intercept or my b is negative 4. Then I have 4x minus y equals 0. I want y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. So I have negative y equals negative 4x. And you don't have to worry about the 0, but if you want, you can put a plus 0. I'm going to divide everything by negative 1. So I have y equals 4x, just 4x. So my slope is 4, and my b is 0 because it's non-existent. This one gets a little more complicated because they both have coefficients. So let's add 6x to both sides. So 4y equals 6x plus 20, and I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides, on all of the terms. So I have y equals 6/4, which simplifies to 3/2 x plus 5. So that's how you write it in slope-intercept form, but then my slope is 3/2, and my b, or my y-intercept, is 5. Let's do 2 more, like this. So we still want y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 3x. So 3y equals negative 3x minus 12. I'm going to divide by 3. Y equals negative x minus 4. So m is negative 1 and b is negative 4. Then 11, I'm going to subtract 12x. So I have negative 9y equals negative 12x minus 9. I'm going to divide everything by negative 9. So I have y equals, well, negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive, and 12/9 simplifies to 4/3, x plus 1. So that's my slope-intercept form, and my slope is 4/3, and my y-intercept is 1. So, there are ways to use this given graphs. So you're going to determine the equation that best represents the line shown. So the best way to do this is convert them all to slope-intercept form. And I'm just going to do the evens. So I'm just going to do 14. But I want you to do 13 and 15. So we're just going to convert them all to slope-intercept form. But before we do that, let's look at our graph and figure out what our slope is and figure out what our y-intercept is. Well, our y-intercept is right there, so that's -1. And my slope, let's just pick another point on my graph. Let's pick that. So it's 2 over 1, or 2. So we want something that looks like 2x minus 1. So let's convert these to slope-intercept form. So if I subtract x, so I get 2y equals -x minus 2, divide everything by 2, y equals -1/2 x minus 1. So that's not it. Cross that one out. And then I'm going to subtract x for b, so I have -2y equals -x plus 2, divide by -2. I get y equals 1/2 x minus 1. Well, that's not it either. And then c, subtract 2x. So I have y equals -2x minus 1. Well, that's close to what we have, right? We wanted a +2 and a -1. So that one's still not it, but it's closer. So we're hoping this one works. Subtract 2x, subtract 2x. -y equals -2x plus 1. I'm going to divide by -1 in every case. So y equals 2x minus 1. So D is our solution. Or what you can do, you can plug all of your answer choices into Desmos and then see which one matches your graph.